but it's overall your instinct and the professionalism involved with from Global Skills Hub, and they have proper assessment forms and everything that gives you like the motivation. Yeah, go for it. It seems legit. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems legitimate. That's good. At
Yeah.
least it seems that.
Yeah, it seems.
I'm happy that it seems that way. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
I hope you're not in Canada illegally, but that's good. So great, and that's interesting. Like, so you mentioned seeming legitimate. Have you come across any other similar opportunities that were not?
Yeah, like especially after being in Canada, almost every day I get 3 to 4 emails. Like it happens. At least in a week, you can approximate almost 10 emails of job opportunities, but you don't feel like going for them, like probably you check out the company and the hiring team, or their conversation is so out of the point, they're not that direct. A direct conversation and totally explaining to you the steps and everything is very important. So, and especially when I was back in Pakistan, things are like alien. You don't know what are the future steps, how it's gonna go, and yeah, the work permit. Even these are smaller things, but even if you start off a conversation, like these people know what they're doing. So these sort of things to emails, these are very important to make the person motivate for the opportunity, as than just replying to them, as than not properly trying. So yeah.
Makes sense. Well, I think this question also came up with our previous conversation with Mariam,
Right.
and it's not unusual, of course. Everyone wants great opportunities, so it's easy to kind of make target of people who are looking for this opportunity and kind of just spam them with messages and all sorts of things, and there might not be proper follow-up in the process and how this is actually executed. And so it's natural, I think, that these things happen. But yeah, I guess you always have to kind of be aware of what's the offer, and is it too good to be true, or what's the background there, what is the intention of the team, and what's going on. And I think that's what can help you navigate through these I would say doubt-filled
Yeah. Because
waters.
there would be a lot of technical recruiters sending you an email, just changing the name of the recipient. That's it. And probably they don't even follow up after that. You would be replying, yeah, and other 2 emails, and that's done. But yeah, a continuous conversation and probably discussing what's the plan. And then there's an interviews, like just a light interview thing about the skills that Global Skills do in the very start, like a phone call. And that's like that, these sort of steps are important. So yeah, for especially people from there. Yeah.
Okay. And so let's also talk a little bit about your decision to do this. So why did you actually decide that it's time for you to move to another place and start a new career path, or join another place and do it?
Basically, I was a technical lead previously in Siemens, as I told. Over there, I was promoted very early on my job. So I knew the next promotion will now come in late. It's not like you can be like every time, or that everything never goes according to your plan. Then it's like opportunities. In my mind, there would be a lot of good places in Lahore, Pakistan, but in my mind, Siemens was one of the best options. It's not even about the work they do. It's like about the exposure, the international exposure it was giving me, and the sort of work atmosphere they had and the quality of work they had. I kept thinking from the start of 2018 that okay, I'm a promoted technical lead, but the next thing is going to come in late. Okay, first thing. So second, that I'm working on an R&D project on one job since 4 years, and I haven't even done much interviews. I don't know at what skill set I do stand at the moment. I haven't done a metrics on myself other than this firm. I don't know how I'm good in the market, these sort of things. And one very important thing was client communication. Over there, I didn't had it. So these were the things I was looking at. When this opportunity came in, it was like at the right time. So, I thought that 4 years was enough of good loyalty I've done to my first job. So it's time to explore more. Yeah.
I
I
really
wanted to
liked.
learn more technologies. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Like you mentioned a few really good points, and I'm going to start from the end. Actually, you mentioned loyalty, and I really like that. I think it's important for everyone who's looking for new opportunities to understand loyalty is something that is valuable to everyone. So obviously, being loyal to your current employer shows that you have the capacity to be loyal to the next one. And so that's one of the things that I think is important to demonstrate. And also, once you kind of move to, let's say you make the jump and then you move to the new company in Canada, I think also planning that properly and looking at a job that is really what you really want and staying there for a few years even and kind of building that trust and network of people that really enjoy working with you, I think is going to, in the long run, really benefit you. And so also thinking about moving with a job just for the sake of moving, I don't think is ever a good idea. I think you should really plan it, look at it at the next stage or evolution of your career, just like you did, Hafsa.
Yeah.
And that's a really smart move because once you do that, then your next move or whatever else you want to do in your career, you've had a good path and you've had enough time to kind of settle into that and learn what you need to learn. So that's
Right.
great. Amazing, amazing.
Um, Another thing to add in there, being a girl and being from Pakistan, it was a difficult decision if you're talking about decision. And there, when it was actually happening, when I actually got the visa, I was still like, yeah, should I do it? Should I not do it? But I had good leaders like in my job over there. One of them came up to me and he was like, if you don't do it, people hardly get it, and if you don't do it at this time, you have to wait till next 5 years now, because it hardly comes in like a 4 years path of your career and this and this. And
Yep.
I just thought that if I don't do it, I'm gonna regret forever, because it's big, it's difficult, but it's worth it in the end of the day. So yeah.
Wow. I can imagine that was a difficult decision, and but yeah, you're brave for taking that leap. It's not easy. I know that a lot of people struggle with that, and it's completely natural. I think if you don't struggle with it, you're probably emotionless or something, right? So I think
Exactly.
I think you definitely need to um, think about it, but it's good to make a informed decision, and I think you did the right thing talking to mentors or other people who understand your situation and discussing opportunities with them. I think never goes wrong. You can always ask for feedback. Um, and actually, if anyone really wants to discuss, um, making career decisions, that's also a good idea to get in touch with people who've already done it, like Hafsa. You can get in touch with our team. You can talk to even people, and some of our employers, hiring partners are actually really interested in talking to you about different career opportunities. So you can talk to them as well. Just look at them as friends and don't look at them as just like HR people trying to hire you. So a lot of them are super experienced and are looking to help you out in your career. So I think it's always a good idea to talk to different people who've gone down this path. Excellent. Really, really good stuff. Really valuable. So how about we go a little bit into the details of what was your application process like? So start from when you joined GSH and all the way to the interviews you had, and how did that process look like?
Um, as I was one of the people who has never given any interview, to be very honest. Like my first was in 2014 for the first job, and yeah, after that never. So I was pretty. I didn't know the right questions to ask, and how to first research for the company and these and that. Global Skills Hub was very beneficial in that part as well. They were also telling me that research for the company, watch these videos related to them, so you have a much clearer picture where at what path you're going on. So after there were around 6 to 7 interviews, I guess. Yeah. So for just discussing my interviews, most of the interviews were just talking. It's very different from Pakistan. Pakistan would be having, even at 4 years of my career, they would be having tests probably, and like a very book knowledge sort of stuff that's known to me. But here it was very different. It was like just a conversation, like, yeah, what you know, what you have worked on, and this and that. Most of the interviews were related to that, just discussing my skills when that happened. How do I work in correspondence with other people, like in a team, and probably some questions if a situation comes up, like a different dilemma, how do you handle it, stuff like that. Yeah, there were technical stuff as well. Like I had Codility, like online coding test as well, and a workshop. That's it. That's it for my like complete technical testing. Codility test, like almost, I think everybody has to do it for every firm, from Amazon to a small business. Like everyone has to do it for a software engineer. And technical workshop is what happens. I think I've heard from people here in Canada as well, that instead of just asking one question, yeah, what is the static variable, or how class inheritance happens, or stuff like a software book knowledge, they just discuss a situation, and it's just they just evaluate your thinking platform, like what comes in your mind after one question. So that's how they check you, as in just knowing what you already know from work. So that's a very interesting part, and it's like you don't really have to plan or prep for an interview. Probably it's more based on what you already know and how you are groomed in your technical knowledge. It's more about that. Now focusing how global skills hub was happening along with the interview. After every interview, I would have mails exchanged and probably calls as well. So that how did it go? How do I feel like? And after every clearance of an interview, I would get an email from GSH team as well. Yeah, you cleared, and probably this is the next step. Like they would discuss it with my original HR team of the company. And so it's like, yeah, it's like they were there at every step, but the most I felt them was in the visa processing. Oh, that is something that probably you can never do on your own. Like, to be very clear, it's not easy. There are hundreds of documents involved, from when you start from in school to every contract that's involved till your current point. And Global Skills Hub is having a partnership with a very good professional lawyers team in Canada. So that was a very professional exchange of conversation throughout with them, because my visa processing was a bit late due to my company got their LMI letter for the first time, as I was the first person coming from abroad for them. But the next person came in 2 weeks, so
Wow.
the next one who came in my company, so through Global Skills Hub again. So that's
So you
like,
kind of paved the way for them, right?
exactly. Probably that happened. I was like, I waited your time as well. So that is a very important period, and the work permit terminologies are very different in different countries, and different documents involved in different countries. And here I didn't have to do anything. Like they just gave me a list. I gave my documents. There were a few scenarios involved with me as well, like passport complications or something, and I discussed with them on the way, and just a signature. That's what I did. Nothing else.
Okay.
So I was just sitting and just waiting, probably. But
You were
that's it.
just you were just signing documents without knowing what
That's it. Yeah, no, I kind of means they were just they filled my work permit, they filled everything, they submitted it, and I was in continuous. Even if you have anxieties in your wait time, because you think that the first step is application and you are done with it, you got a job. There are actually two major steps involved. Job is okay, you did it, but visa is very important as well, probably in countries like Pakistan and India. So it's very important as well. It's the second wait, and Global Skills Hub was always communicating with me, and to make me feel light about it and to make me feel confident about it. And they were always there. So I finally got the good news too in September, August, yeah, August end. So yeah, that's how it went.
And when was the so you got your offer in August, or you
No,
got
no,
or you landed?
I got my job offer in 14th of April,
Okay.
and I got my visa at 23rd of August. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Nice. It was a little bit lengthy, but still, it worked, right?
yeah, it worked. So,
That's good. That's good. And how did it feel? So, kind of wrapping up your life and moving to live in a new place in like a span of 2 or 3 months. How did that feel? What was that experience like?
Um, my few months were like a bit concerned about my visa process. I knew I had the idea that I will get it, but I was still not thinking about it. Like I was just prepping my mind, let's not think about it till I don't get it and this and that. The day I got it, I booked my tickets and it was a reality check. Yeah, I'm moving. Like I'm
Wow.
wrapping up. Is it actually happening? I'm gonna leave everything because at this age of your life, you have built a routine. And my life in Pakistan was like in restaurants, I was bumping into 4 to 5 people that I know.
Yeah.
So I knew like a lot of people knew me. And one thing that I realized after coming to Canada is like your personality is just 60%, 40% is how people take you. And if there are no people to take you, like, no people know you are kind of confused that,
Wow.
oh, this happened. And I was like, yeah. So, it's a lot of anxiety period those few days when you're actually moving. But I think it's better to not think about anything, probably get your preparation in, because a lot of thoughts will come in that give up, probably it's just too much, I cannot handle it, it's at an age I'm just used to my life, and change is always weird. And because I was working in one job for 4 years, it was like a home for me. So I
Yeah.
was like, change probably, I don't know how I'm gonna go through the transition. But I just kept myself busy, to be very honest, not think much about it.
Are
Yeah.
you are you are you feeling happy about your decision now, or do you want to go back?
To be very honest, there were days in the cold of Canada that you feel like your body cannot take it. But like, even it's a small example that,
Yeah.
yeah, just the cold, and people were so okay with it, and I was not. But slowly now, I'm also turning okay with it. Like if it's -2, I'm like, oh, it's such a nice weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like things change and you evolve. But um, one very important part of it is routine. I had a few struggles in the start, that I booked an apartment that was late because the building was under construction. So I had to wait. The day I got my own place, things changed. I had a routine. I had fixed timings of going to work, fixed timings of coming back. I had my own space. That's when you start liking it. That's when you explore the city, your surroundings, because before that, probably you were just too busy in what's going on, and like, I have to do this, and like, you're not so okay with it. But the first step to actually adjustment is getting a place. So that's what I learned. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yes, that's definitely true. I've done a few of these moving arounds myself, and I know exactly how you feel. It's sometimes it gets daunting, but yeah, definitely having a place of your own makes a big difference, and that's kind of when you start feeling like this is where you are and this is where you belong.
Exactly. Your mind
Nice.
finally like connects to the reality. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
changed. This is my life now. You start accepting. And it's good. It's when you explore. I explored many restaurants, like many places, and I
Mhm.
actually went to every other event that happened after I moved here in Toronto. Keeps you busy, and the city has a lot to offer for every taste. So
Have you found any good Pakistani restaurants that you like?
probably, I think I've tried 60% in Toronto, like
Wow, okay.
Pakistani food.
You're
Food
just
is
going
very
around looking for
important.
Pakistani restaurants, right?
I think I remember one of the days in the first 2 weeks
Mhm.
that I was collapsing, and then a friend of mine took me to a Pakistani restaurant. I had the first bite, and I was so happy. I thought it was not homesickness; it was probably just the stomach. So that's what I realized. Yeah, food is important. So
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yes.
Completely understand it. I think that's one of the biggest keys, right? Find your food and you'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be all fine.
You'll be all fine. Nice. Okay. So, I mean, we already kind of went into this, but anything else about the transition between Pakistan moving to Canada? Anything else in there that you think is worth mentioning, or you noticed that was really maybe surprising for you, or you experienced while going through um, this transition?
Yeah, there are actually two things. Number one, that it's that first everybody would be facing the anxiety to start from the scratch, to leave everything, start from the scratch, but things happen. They're small things, probably what to wear in this cold, or what weight you need to carry every day because you're walking. We don't really walk this much back there. These are little things, and every day you focus on one thing, you get it done, and you're simply absorbing it, adapting it, and it goes. I have what it's better to learn over time the attitude to keep, like, it's just to keep off the negativities. There would be many loneliness, and the light goes away pretty soon over here, like 4 o'clock, and there's much less sunlight, and you feel a bit depressed. There's small things, but it's like slowly growing into the attitude of adaptation, because nothing will I thought probably I would be all settled in 2 weeks. People take so much time. It's not going to happen to me. Probably I'm still not settled. It's still going to take months, or people take a year too. So it's just accepting this reality and slowly going through step by step. Else than that, a thing which also surprised me about Canada is that you don't feel newbie, the only newbie. Um, a lot of times the conversation with the other person starts that they ask me, where are you from? And the next question that I ask is, where are you from? Because everybody here is from somewhere. People are from Serbia and Colombia, and you meet a lot of different people, and it's like you're such a blend of diversity: Sikhs, Muslims, Indians, and Italians, everybody on road when you're walking in the downtown. So you don't feel like the only different one, and it's very comforting because the story that's going on with me, transition and learning and this and that, everybody had, mostly a lot of people had it with them as well at some stage of your life, probably 2 years back, 10 years back. So and they would give you tips as well. So it's like you're not the only one. So you don't. It's less frightening probably. So yeah.
Wow, that does make sense, and I think it makes a big difference, being in a city where other people have gone through the same challenges that you have gone through. I
Yeah.
think that empathy and that level of understanding is very different from, let's say, going to a place where nobody's an immigrant and you're just the only person there. And it just feels weird because not necessarily because those people don't like you. It's just that they don't understand the struggles that you're going through. But I think
Exactly.
having that in a city like Toronto, I think makes a big difference. So that's good. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. Nice. Great. So let's move a little bit towards your work life. What does your
Right.
work experience look like in Canada? Maybe you can talk about your days, your weeks. What have you experienced until now at your workplace? What kind of teammates do you have? How does your work environment look like? Give us a little bit of a
Right.
understanding of that.
Basically, my company is software consultancy, so they work on projects like 3 to 4 months and web applications, and that's how they do it. Like from clients all over Canada and probably international as well. So one of the good things is you shift technology so much in a year that a lot of things add to your resume, which is good, which was never happening in Pakistan. Like it was good, but it was slow. Like it was slow because I was working on one product. But here I have an opportunity to learn more. Even in my first, it's been just 2 months, and I already have 2 or 3 things to add to my CV. So that's one good thing about Canada, that they are very focused about new entering technologies. That every mid-sized company really goes for it. They have a special budget for it to learn new things and everything. My work life here, a normal day is like you know what you gotta do. You have there is the Scrum sprint concept is much embedded in a lot of companies over here. Like probably for 2 weeks you will be working on a set of stuff that's given to you, and after 2 weeks you will be checking bugs and just presenting to the client. So one good motivation involved, which I haven't seen much in the past, that whatever you're working is making a direct impact to the client. Even for your growth to another level in your job, moving higher, soft skills are very important, and soft skills are majorly attributed to how you deal with your clients. Okay, you're good at developing, right? You would be, a lot of people are, but how do you present it? How do you talk to people? How much you're groomed in making the other person understand, negotiate on the terms, and how beneficial it is for your firm. So these are some of the stuff which are very important in the startup industry in Toronto. And I think it has a major gap as well for especially people like me from there, which you don't have much opportunities like these because a lot of stuff like that is done by, like the sales team and all. You don't much have a uh, direct negotiation sort of relationship with the client, but it's a lot to learn on that perspective for me, as at least. um, Other than that, oh yeah, whatever you're doing, having an impact pretty quickly in just like twice a month, or probably you can collaborate freely with your client, and these stuff is important because in the end of the day, yeah, technical knowledge is good, but it takes you halfway. Halfway is like your personality. So that's one of the things that I learned over here pretty quickly. But yeah, a lot to
And
go.
what about your the people you work with, like your teammates? Are they? How would you describe them? What do they look
Um,
like? What kind of, and look like, not as in like physically, but
Team structure.
uh, sorry,
Team structure.
not just necessarily team structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it could be team structure or just like the type of people that you work with.
Right.
Tell us
Right.
a little bit about that.
Since the day I came in, I was like, probably, it would be so alien. I don't know how work would be, what level of quality would they be expecting. I don't even know but would they be working on the technologies I learned in the past? Probably is this something new? Any training period? Yes or no? I don't know because I joined work the next day and I was jet lagged too. So it was nothing as I expected. Like they were like, okay, no, not much straightforward training, but they were so experienced that they took me along onboarding in a way that I was actually contributing well in a time that I didn't even know that I would have done it, because you don't even feel like you're training, but you're contributing. It's like they are experienced to keep like probably your ego of a newbie who is here in a new country elevated and still getting you learn new stuff. So that's how I can explain it. And yeah, I have a manager, and which is very different from a manager relationship that I have seen in the past. Because in the past it was like a manager relationship is very formal, like hello, regards in an email, and like it's all work related. Manager would be asking you for work, and like how much you have done. It's probably a relationship that's like that over there, sorry. But over here, my manager is not related to my work at all. Like probably in the future I would be in a different team than my manager. It's no relationship to my technical knowledge. The whole relationship is based on my work experience, like overall how my attitude at work, and if I do have any problem or something like that. It's like every week we have sessions in which we just discuss generally my life in Canada and how I'm going at work, and nothing technical, all journal. Like if I face any problem, how I'm growing in my friend circle, probably little stuff like that. It's so casual, it's so comfortable. It's very different. So these are one of the nice things, that overall people keep a very sort of light studio environment over here. It's like a HR team, accounts team. You don't have to put in emails for that. You can probably push a small message in Slack, or you probably catch them in the elevator and just ask any question that you like. And they really appreciate asking. They it's like time boxing, if there's something complex, don't spend so much time over that, so that you think that if you ask someone, they would feel like you don't know about it. It's okay, keep asking, keep ask and then learn. It's probably the time would be small as compared to if you drill down and you don't know where you're going. So that's one of the good things.
That's really interesting. I think that's a big positive note that I'm hearing from you about working culture, right? Being open to asking questions and spending the time to actually respond to them. I think
Right.
that is tremendous in terms of your opportunities for learning and growing, and also feeling comfortable to contribute. Make mistakes, do some experiments, learn
Exactly.
stuff.
And
That's good.
all of the vacations they offered, personal unlimited personal days they offer, all of their offerings, all of their conversation in a day, in a week, in a review is all based on how you are doing. This is nothing technical. It is like they won't say that, yeah, you were lacking in that thing or something like that. They ask you how you want to grow, where do you want to go, which things do you want to learn, and how you're feeling, how you're evolving. So that was very different. I would have never expected it. But that's happening. That's good.
Nice, nice. Sounds great. So it seems like you're enjoying your work environment.
Yeah.
Um, and but we've talked about a lot of the good stuff. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about, and not necessarily about your work, but maybe a
Yeah.
little bit about difficulties, difficulties that you went through throughout this process. I'm sure there was some. You mentioned a few things, but maybe just to remind everybody to be aware of these things, and not just to scare anyone, but
Yeah.
to make them feel like this is
Realities.
real, right? It's a real experience, and there's
Right.
negative things involved in it as well, and you can deal with it, and you'll be fine. It's going to be okay. So tell us a little bit about those and what happened at the end.
One of the very biggest, there are actually two. Number one is cultural shock. You actually feel it way too much. Okay, there's a blend, but there would be places that you would be seeing different people and probably fluency in English as well. For me, it was a problem. English was my work language in Pakistan because my managers were foreigners, but it was used only for work, not to express yourself, and it's very different. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, very different. Like, yeah, to talk about something technical than to just have a conversation with someone, like to build friends. For using a different language, that was a hurdle. And cultural shock as well. Okay, when time goes by, it smooths in, but there would be little stuff, but there would be a lot of people, and you'd be like, should I go, should I not go? You would be underconfident. There would be queues, and you'd be like, even collaborating with a cashier at a bank, you would be underconfident. These things, I never went through these things. Probably going in shops, like people would be asking you,
Yeah.
hello, how's your day, and you'd be thinking, why they're asking me? But that's normal over here. That's how everybody does it. So these are little stuff, and they keep you being confused for a lot of time because you don't know how to behave. Probably that's one thing. You don't know, and you don't know what if you would if somebody says how's your day, how much you have to respond. You don't know. And the only answer to this is, yeah, it keeps you anxious, it keeps you confused, and you just don't like it. When you don't know how to behave, definitely you don't like it. You're like, I don't know, this place is weird probably would be the word always coming in your mind. But it's the answer is just time. Yeah, slow and steady, you actually blend in. And probably it happened to me. Now even if I go on the road and there are dogs and I don't know the people, but I say your dog is amazing, your shoes are amazing, because I'm slowly being blended and I'm practicing. That's how it is. People are very nice to each other. Probably you would also think it's too extra nice, it's fake, but that's not how it is. Slowly I learned that's in them. So you slowly start becoming a part of it as well. The second is loneliness. Yeah, there are times I like at in evenings I'm from a house was totally filled with people. That's how it is in the South Asian culture. And now when I come back from home, there's no one. I have to switch on TV, so I have background noise. And there are days I hate it because it's cold, it's dark, and I don't. okay, on weekends I would be having friends, and they were first acquaintances. I changed them into friends because you have to have something social to keep you going. But there would be days it would be lonely and this and that. But the answer is to find activities. I found gym, so probably there's a lot to offer, badminton too, and probably so much to offer that you get confused, to be very honest. Like everything has multiple varieties, music, a lot of stuff to do in the weekdays, in the evenings to keep you busy. And over here, work timings are very important. Like from 9 to 6, you're actually working. I have had days in Pakistan in which, yeah, timings were there, but it was flexible. We used to work at night or probably, like how you want to. But here, time is very important for people. So it drains you out till the evening. Yeah, you are like you want to sleep at at least 11 p.m. to be
Yeah.
mentally ready for the next day. I was not used to it. There were a lot of days in a month in Pakistan that I was up all night and still going to work because it was
Yeah.
light. You manage your own time, but here you have to go according to a stream and collaborate in a way that you finish like in a time to show the client. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I like the way you said you just want to sleep. Like,
yes,
I totally understand that. Yes.
yeah. So yeah, slowly
So
getting the
those
hang
are
of
your
it.
challenges. Yeah. So those are
They
challenges.
are.
I mean, I think they're very natural challenges. I don't see anything particularly unusual about them. It's
Yeah,
just the natural process that you go through when you go to a new place, and obviously you have like the only I think the major difference is everything in your life is changing dramatically and super
yeah,
fast. The good thing about it is, and how it's different from a lot of other forms of immigration, is that um, usually when people immigrate, first they have to figure out the visa and the immigration process, and then
exactly.
they start searching for a job, which is a crazy difficult process.
Definitely.
So I think the thing that really helps you, um, and anyone who kind of enters with this model, I think, is that first day you have a job, you already have a community of people to go to
Right.
every day, you have your routine, you have a salary, you have everything is kind of all your basic at least survival needs are in check, and you kind of know exactly what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and then kind of other pieces of your life slowly
Exactly,
fall into
exactly.
place.
That's like 70% is sorted, 30% is just you, which you have to sort. But yeah,
Yeah,
the basics are there. That's definitely a point.
yeah.
Even like after moving here, we had a lot of get-togethers from with Global Skills team with people who are also new to the city, and we were sharing experiences. And we are also planning to visit like a day pass in Toronto City. What city has to offer, like CN Tower and museums and all of that. So you also collaborate with people with the same problems and with the same stuff, and you make friends in the end of the day. So that's how it happened with me as well. So,
Nice, nice. Sounds great. Sounds amazing. Um, I'm happy that you have this environment, and one of the things that we're really trying to build is our community, and kind of this, I guess it's more like a family approach where we want
definitely.
everyone to, that's why we're connecting you to all the people who will be in your shoes in the next few months. And we want them to kind of hear what it's like, and once they move there, I guess you guys might see each other and make friends,
Definitely.
and that's kind of the whole idea with these webinar series that we started. And I'm happy that you took the time to share your experience with us. In the meantime, while I move to my final questions,
Right. Right.
I wanted to ask everybody in the audience, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A option you can use. You can also raise your hands or type it in the chat. I prefer the Q&A option if you could use it. So if you have any questions for Hafsa, please feel free to reach out, and yeah, clear whatever doubts you have, or any ideas that you haven't been covered yet already. Obviously, we're going to share a link to the recorded session with you, anyone who's attended. So don't worry about that. If you missed the part or if you joined later, that's fine. But other than that, if there's anything else you want to ask her, please feel free to reach out. Great. Okay. So final questions
Yeah.
I always have. So number one, what are you looking forward to?
Canada, Toronto especially, is a land of opportunities for tech hubs. So many stuff is happening. One of the things that I got to know that a lot of people do here is meetups. It's an app, it's a website, and people are using it all over the world. So if you're interested in Java, probably AWS, a lot of meetups are happening, like small networking sort of events. Probably mostly are free, some have tickets. So very cheap. So you go in there and mingle with people, know how the technology is booming over here, make contacts. Yeah, would be really interested in that. So that's what I've started. That I focus on meetups, like two in a month, and the stuff that I like, Java or SQL or something like that. Tech probably. I'm mostly into tech. Then my future would be music and food and these and that stuff as well when I settle in. So yeah, so that's where a lot of opportunities also come in. Yeah. So it's all about networking probably because and it's very easy to do it here. It was you this sort of networking definition was not even there from where I am. I never built connections with people, but here they provide you platforms to do it. So it's easy. So I'm looking forward to that and I'm excited for that.
So you're focused on networking.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's definitely a key element in success in definitely the Canadian job market. And or if you want to, who knows, maybe someday you want to start your own project and
Probably
on your
that can happen. Here you feel the motivation to do so because here there are investors and they are very open to. I went to Mars and Elevate through Global Skills Hub. They provide me tickets, and there I was learning that come in with an idea, and if we can collaborate. So there are a lot of opportunities for that. But for that first, yes, like while coming in this job, at least it would take me probably a year or two to properly get the vibe of Canadian coding. Probably, I one thing that I learned is that we don't really do much different over there as well in Pakistan. Like I thought that our quality would be not that good, or like coding structures, or probably, but when I properly they knew my preferences before coming here, so I wanted to be a back-end person. So they set me up in a structure that I do what I like, and slowly my previous knowledge was easily getting used over here as well. Even if the technology is different, it doesn't matter for software engineers, of course, but I was using my previous knowledge, which was very important for me because I didn't want it to do properly an all over new thing. I didn't want to start. That was my preference. So I want to properly get the gear and go of like being a developer in Canada, working according to their standards. So yeah, slowly after that, a lot of stuff is you start exploring and having dreams in Canada because you think about your own future, probably your own startup or something like that, and you have the opportunities to do it as well.
Amazing. And I have a last question. So, what advice do you have for anyone else who's going or about to go on this path?
First, that just suppress the negativities, think less, and step one by one. You will have tips from people who are already here, and there are a lot of good people. Count me in as well. That if you need any help, I'm always there. And there are also other people as well. You will just meet unknown people who will just exchange numbers with you. That you're new here. We want to welcome. Canada is a very welcoming country, and people really go out of the way to help you over here. So because you need help in everything, you for the first month you need serious help. It's nobody can do it alone. It's definitely is. So just go step by step. Things will just structure in their own way, in your own customized way, and you won't even know about it. And after a few months, I won't say days, I won't say weeks. After a few months, you will be in a flow when you will have a routine. But one other thing, one very important advice to be look for a home before coming. Have at least the knowledge of realtors, and Global Skills Hub give you a booklet of moving in as well, which is very important. Just a relocation guide, and collaborate with them and look for agents and try to get a good option of like the place, like a good home for at least a year or something. That's what I think. Would be my choice. Like set stuff up before coming here, which is near to your work. That's again my preference. If people can do subways, that's their own will. It was difficult for me though. So I think that's very important. Then the time of adjustment actually shortens. Yeah. So when you have a place, yeah. So that's a very important thing. That's what I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Really good stuff. I think you mentioned so many great points. Your experience was super valuable, and I think everyone enjoyed it. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions. I don't see anything popping up. Let me just check. Oh, okay. Yeah, we do have actually a few questions. Sorry.
Sure.
So, let's see. We have a bunch of questions. So let's see. Okay, so Mehdi Hassan has asked about, can you tell us a bit more about your tech stack you're working with? And then he also wants to know about your interview process, but you also mentioned that a little bit, maybe not go into too many details, but he wanted to know about the codility test in general. So your tech stack and your codility test.
Okay. Codility test, basically, I never gave any, but one of my seniors at my previous job explained it to me that there are lessons of difficulty. Your interviewer won't mention to you at which lesson he's going to interview, right? But so I was like, I have my interview in like, I only have 2 days left to cover it and I'm going to do it. And he was like, my senior was like, at least study for 5-6 lessons, to have. It's not like you would get much out of it, but it's like you would be in a flow to attempt questions on the side. Your mind won't be confused when the question pops in, and you will actually like through like because I'm an electrical engineer and I haven't read algos, which algorithms, which mostly software engineers do in their graduation. So it was these sort of mini questions which actually expect you to have a very good code, not like just fulfilling the requirements. The main focus is that do you know like the effects of it? Can you do it in a better way or in a better processing way? So this stuff is important, which I didn't know. So that's why I went for a few lessons of codility, like 5 to 7, and just did it over the weekend, like one day, and I was just doing it whole day to just practice get a good grip out of it. But a very important thing to add is these sites just record when you are coding and you add a lot of comments. So the basic purpose is what was your thinking when you were attempting. Nothing is 100% right, but they want to know your knowledge and your attempt, like the first things which come to your mind. Because when the test came up, I think it was from 12th or 13th difficulty level, and I had done like 5 to 7, and it's not like exact question will come up too, but for my thinking I was like, it's difficult, it's very difficult. But again, I did not complete it like 100%, probably I was at 80%, but again they had a video recording, live recording, and just see what you're doing, and probably they liked it. So yeah, so that's about it.
Yeah, like something I would add to this is that it's not necessarily coming up with the outcome that is important, more about your thinking process, how you approach the problem, what does your solution look like in terms of strategy, right?
Right.
Not really exactly giving this correct answer, but showing that you have the right mindset to attack this problem and then come up with a solution is mainly what everyone is looking for.
Right.
So it's not a focus on that. Perfect. Thank you. There was also another question regarding your technical interview, so we answered that as well. So someone else asked, hello, I have already completed coding interview and submitted CV. I selected Edmonton. Now I'm in a pool. So what's the chance of selection? Because of that question, Hafsa won't answer to you. I will answer. Basically, you'll just, when you're in our pool and when your CV is reviewed, and once it's confirmed, then we will start matching you to positions that are open and actively looking to hire someone right now that match your profile. So that part is a little bit of luck. So, based on what's in the market right now today, it could take you a few weeks, it could take you maybe more, to find the right fit. But don't worry, it will come. Sometimes you need to be patient. And Ali also asked about pay scale. I mean, I don't want you don't need to talk about your pay scale, but generally, software engineering salaries are pretty good. Sorry?
No, please carry on.
Oh, I thought you wanted to mention something, but they're generally good. They're generally good salaries, enough for you to survive your life, definitely. And as you kind of join the workforce, there's definitely opportunities for you to get promotions and grow. Mainly salaries that we work with start above the average of salaries, which is like, I think we start with 80K or maybe even around that range. I think it goes up depending on your seniority, depending on the type of responsibility you have. Is it like a position with 15 years of experience and you're taking ownership of a team lead, or are you joining in as a just a mid-level developer who's just starting their career and you're starting to learn? So those skills are different, right?
I can add to that one thing, that after exploring the market, Global Skills Hub opportunity is at a very good pay scale. It's again of your choices as well, as like I had my choice of living in downtown. So your rent is very expensive, like triple the amount in downtown. So if you manage it well, it's like for the rent specifically, rent is a very big problem in Toronto. Very, very big. It goes down 40 to 50% of your pay. That's how it is. It's a city like this. Probably you go to London, if you get an opportunity over there, it would be very comfortable as compared to here. So your choice of living is very important. After that, if you live like 50 or 1 hour away from downtown, probably in my case, it's a very comfortable life. Very, very comfortable life. So the pays are really good. Even 80K means a lot over here. So
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah, definitely. And again, as you mentioned, it also comes down to your lifestyle and how you manage your money, and how you would kind of go about managing your finances. Maybe you need to be a bit more careful, not to overspend on certain things at the beginning, just so you kind of get a hang of where you want your money to go, and kind of planning for that. But generally, the salaries that are offered for all these positions, for various reasons. Number one, the demand, and also the visa process is highly above the average that you would require to live, even in a super expensive city like Toronto. You would still be okay. So great, very well. We're out of time. We're a minute over time. And there's still some questions, but don't worry, guys. Those questions we will all answer. We have onboarding sessions and Q&As every week. We'll respond to those. Thank you once again, Hafsa. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. And on behalf of everyone in our community, I thank you for sharing your valuable experience. I wish you the best of luck
on
the rest of your journey, because it's just begun. And yeah, I hope that some folks here will get to see you someday in Toronto.
Yeah, sure. Whoever wants to in contact, whenever they come, just get my number through Global Skills Hub, and you can directly contact me, not a problem. So have a nice day, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon. We will announce the schedule for our next webinars. It's the end of the year, so programs might be a bit different. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.